This countdown will be special, like that special day with that special someone, but you can watch it alone. We're going to hit the ground running with a show about those jaw-dropping, ultra-extravaganza, over-the-top celebrity weddings you read about in the magazines.
Bring everybody. Bring that Gucci house
McCartney,
over here,
everybody. Dolce and Gabbana, all of them.
Get your needles out.
All of them.
We're making a dress.
We're talking about rich meets poor, crazy meets innocent actress, and plebe meets royalty. It's going to be like a wedding, exciting and messy.
For a guy who said he never wanted to get married again, this George Clooney wedding was like one for the books.
We won't have wedding cake, but you just might meet the bridesmaid of your dreams. Hold on to your hats and glasses. This is Ultimate Countdown, most memorable celebrity weddings.
Way to go, Frank.
A Spice Girl and a footballer who could bend it like Beckham set the stage for our first wedding. Kicking off the countdown at number 25, it's Victoria Adams and David Beckham before they moved to Hollywood.
This was the ultimate UK power couple. And when they got married in Ireland. I think a lot of people were a little shocked.
David Beckham and Victoria Adams' wedding was literally a fairy tale wedding. They got married in front of 230 guests. There was this 60-foot-long walkway that she walked down after she got out of her vintage Bentley. At their reception, they literally sat in golden thrones, just kind of receiving people during their party. And I like to think of their wedding as basically a Game of Thrones episodes that actually has a happy ending.
The wedding cake of Posh and Becks was topped with nude figurines of who? Posh and Becks, which is so ironic because the only reason they look good nude is because they don't eat cake.
That's like two opposites attract, and it's just too much pretty.
Too positive.
But then when you look at the pictures, you gotta know, like, looking back at them being like, y'all wish y'all hadn't done that hair. You really do, because it's all spikies and 90s looking. Too much gel, Posh and Becks.
They were very high profile for a while for wearing matching outfits, which is something that only happens in like American high schools, I thought, for like senior portraits. Nope.
Victoria brought a footballer into the world of glamour, just like our next pop star brought an actress into the world of pop music.
It was such a wonderful day when Justin Timberlake married Jessica Biel. I'm sorry, I nod off whenever I think of Jessica Biel.
In sync at number 24, it's Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel's wedding.
Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel had a wonderful in-sync wedding. Everyone was in tears by the end. It was romantic, it was over the top. Jessica wore this gorgeous dress that showed off her spectacular shoulders and neck. No one has more beautiful neck and shoulders than Jessica Biel. Justin's a very lucky guy.
He actually sang her down the aisle, and when he saw her, he said that she was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen in his life. And I still think he thinks of her that way today.
I love that she wore a pink dress to the wedding because for me, it screamed, gosh darn it, someone's paying attention to me for a day. Not that people don't pay attention to Jessica Biel, but I feel like marrying Justin Timberlake is just like a lot.
When Justin Timberlake married Jessica Biel, he was like, I can either have smart kids or pretty kids. I'm gonna go with pretty.
So Justin Timberlake serenaded Jessica Biel at their wedding. He said that during this serenade, grown men were weeping in the audience. I like to believe the reason was that they knew that their girlfriend's expectations for their own wedding were completely exploding in that moment.
They're one of those couples that also got married in Italy. Everybody gets married in Italy, and it's a gorgeous country, lots of amazing choices for weddings, but I think ultimately the reason that everybody gets married there is because brides are that excited about eating carbs at the party.
If Justin brought sexy back, he has this hunk to thank. Tying the knot with the presidential seal at number 23, it's John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the man that would become the 35th President of the United States, and his wedding to socialite Jacqueline Bouvier.
Jacqueline Bouvier became Jackie Kennedy when she married John F. Kennedy in a beautiful Roman Catholic ceremony. And what's significant about this moment is not only did they become a couple, but they, in that moment, became Camelot. They became this city on a hill that would go on to represent all of the optimism and all of the great things that this country is capable of.
Jackie Kennedy looked like such a princess during her wedding to John F. Kennedy that there's actually a Jackie Kennedy wedding day Barbie doll. There's actually also about a half dozen Marilyn Monroe Barbie dolls. So I like to think that we're giving girls a lot of really positive choices. You either can be the suffering wife or you can be the alcoholic mistress. What'll it be?
She looked so beautiful and had this really stoic, just really like almost like a stiff upper lip kind of look, as if like, yes, today is my day, and then this is gonna be a hard marriage. Like she knew going into it, like this is gonna be one hell of a ride, America. Get ready, cutting the cake.
Let me tell you something. I would pay money to see Jackie Kennedy do the electric slide. Hey.
A little that. Come on now.
Yeah.
That would, any Kennedy really
Yeah,
would
really,
be. So,
anyone.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Kanye West and Kim Kardashian are some of the most vain, self-absorbed, egomaniacal human beings on the planet, so it's no surprise their wedding made our list.
I'm afraid to say anything negative about Kanye West. I feel like he could have a light fall down on my head with one tweet.
At number 22, Kanye and Kim, the Laurel and Hardy of reality TV.
Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. You know, I'm not sure which one of them married beneath them.
My favorite anecdote about the wedding of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West is that he gave a 20-minute monologue in which he sort of extolled the properties of the Kardashian family and said how they were saving the world. There is no way that that 20-minute speech was a coherent, well put together speech. I'm sure it was basically like the wedding speech equivalent of Kanye's Twitter rants.
Bruce Jenner, as he was then known, who is now Caitlyn Jenner, walked Kim down the aisle. Now, what I can't wait to see is if they do a vow renewal, will Caitlyn Jenner walk Kim down the aisle?
We are spending millions of dollars to make sure that we are the spectacle. That we will be on the news the next morning. And what makes the top? That little 15-year-old brat coming in a Batman suit.
And a white one at that. Everybody knows
You can't wear white.
white.
That's the bride's color. You can't be wearing white to a wedding.
Yes.
Plus, he's too old to be in Batman costumes. 15.
Mommy, I want to wear my pirate suit.
No, only the leather white one. It's a wedding. We have to be formal.
Elvis Presley could have had any woman in the world, but he married Priscilla Marie Bouleau, an expat he met in Germany when she was only 14. At number 21, the marriage between the king and the model.
Elvis and Priscilla Presley got married in Las Vegas, which is very appropriate, and apparently had a $10,000 breakfast buffet afterwards. So this is kind of the most attainable celebrity wedding to emulate if you want to. All you have to do is go to Vegas and get married in a drive-through wedding with an Elvis impersonator, and then go to a casino for a breakfast buffet afterwards. So easy.
When Elvis married Priscilla in Las Vegas, there was only one other celebrity present at the wedding. Any guesses? The comedian Red Fox, star of Sanford & Son. How random is that?
Priscilla and Elvis's first dance was to Love Me Tender, sung by Elvis. But it was his recording, which I thought was wild.
Love me tender, love me sweet.
And later, they had another commitment ceremony that was just like Blue Hawaii, which was his movie. And that's simultaneously super romantic and really self-important as well.
She had a baby 9 months to the day of getting married. I mean, it was not 9 months of one day. It was 9 months to the day. To the day.
Yeah.
He is the most successful actor in Hollywood. She is the most successful actress in Hollywood. They meet, they get rid of Jennifer Aniston. And then we have our number 20, the marriage of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
To me, this is the best wedding by far because Brad and Angelina's kids were involved in every aspect of it. They helped make the dress, they helped make the cake.
So apparently when Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie got married, she had all 15 of her children draw pictures on her wedding dress. And it's so weird because help was written in like 5 different languages.
Angelina Jolie's dress was decorated with pictures that all her kids drew. I mean, how cute is that? I would have loved, though, if one of the kids had gone real dark. It would have been like, honey, Maddox drew a skull and crossbones. I I guess we have to include it.
Does anyone remember when they made a big stink about we're not getting married till gays can get married? I'm just putting this out there. They made a really big deal saying that we're not gonna get married until we have marriage equality, and everybody was like, yeah.
There was an article that had come out where Angelina said that it wasn't so much the marriage that kind of sealed the fate for her, that Brad was her forever guy. It was more so when they signed the adoption papers.
Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie didn't get married for the longest time. They just were together, they started a family, they were very well established, and then they just got married in secret. It was kind of just like on a Tuesday or something.
This is the most photographed couple in the history of Hollywood. But their wedding was secret and quiet and private.
There are certain perks you get by being Frank Sinatra. One of them is to marry women 30 years younger than you, like Mia Farrow.
Way to go, Frank.
At number 19, the troubled marriage between the crooner and the actress that we thought gave no offspring, until we took a better look at Ronan Farrow.
If you just Google them, I really like what Mia Farrow wore. I'm not positive it was a wedding dress. It looked like a cool outfit you would wear to a white party, but I respect that. It was almost as if she just kind of thought, what do I have in white? Oh, I'm getting married in an hour, you know? And I think that's one cool broad right there.
That still freaks me out as a couple.
Really?
Doesn't that freak you out a little bit? She don't think of Mia Farrow like and Frank Sinatra, but they got married and she was much younger.
She was 21 too.
She had that little pixie haircut. She's like this big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Frank, what did they have in common?
When Frank Sinatra married Mia Farrow in Las Vegas, he was 50 years old and she was just 21. So you could say he got blackjack.
Mia Farrow was married to Frank Sinatra, and then she divorced him and married Woody Allen. I've never heard of anyone marrying down the ladder.
So Ronan Farrow was born long after the marriage between Mia Farrow and Frank Sinatra split up. But I don't think we really need a paternity test to tell us that Frank Sinatra and not Woody Allen is the father. Our eyeballs are the paternity test.
So, Jenny from the block decides to invite her friends to spend an afternoon with Marc Anthony at her place. Everyone is thinking it's going to be about her breakup with Ben Affleck, but it turns out to be a wedding. This is either the beginning of a joke, or our number 18, the marriage of Jennifer Lopez with her fellow Puerto Rican best friend, Marc Anthony.
J-Lo and Marc Anthony had a secret wedding, like a surprise wedding. They invited people over for an afternoon gathering or some generic term, and then boom, we're getting married. How exciting. But I don't even think J-Lo thought it was gonna last because she caught her own bouquet.
They invited everybody over for lunch.
Yeah, because you know how much J-Lo hates publicity.
Yes.
I mean, if there's anything J-Lo is, it's a private person.
Right.
She does not like being on publicity. She does not like being on TV or magazines 24/7. So J-Lo was like, Marc, let's keep this private.
Yes.
Let's keep our wedding private. We're not going to tell people that they come into our wedding. They just come into lunch.
Yeah.
I don't love J-Lo and Marc Anthony's wedding as much as I love my idea fantasy for J-Lo and Marc Anthony's wedding, which involves Ben Affleck, The Graduate style, just like, J-Lo! And then her just turning out being like, no! And then just running down the aisle into his arms. And then both of them realizing, like, wait, why were we dating in the first place? I don't remember. I'm gonna go back to, you know.
J-Lo's very public breakup with Ben Affleck happened in January of 2004, and by June 2004, she was marrying Marc Anthony. So I think there's something really interesting there. Apparently, they were really good old friends, and I think her heart was just so broken that she just kind of like fled to the closest man she had and married him.
So this was J-Lo's 11th wedding, wasn't it? But to be fair, in her contract, it says she only has to have green M&Ms and a new husband every 2 to 4 years, so.
J-Lo was lucky when she wanted to forget Ben. But when Sir Paul McCartney wanted to forget his deceased wife Linda, he wasn't so lucky.
You know, I hear they're not married anymore. That marriage never had a leg to stand on.
Our number 17 was a wedding in Ireland between an ex-Beatle and Heather Mills. The outcome was a $50 million car crash.
Paul McCartney and Heather Mills' wedding was at a 17th century church in Ireland. It cost $3 million, and on the guest list were Elton John, Eric Clapton, Ringo Starr, and a bunch of her friends who aren't famous, so who cares?
I did hear that Paul McCartney's daughter, the fashion designer Stella McCartney, was not a fan of Heather Mills. So you can just imagine how she felt being at that wedding.
And I always thought, I was like, oh, come on, Stella, you know, of course nobody's gonna be your mom, but you're an adult, you're successful, this, that, and the other. But she was right. She was right. Stella was right.
Paul McCartney is so important in our history that all eyes are on him all the time, and he had such a memorable partnership with Linda McCartney. And it kind of is a lot of pressure, I would assume, that when you're getting married to a new person and you're trying to start a new life, it seems like it would be a little bit daunting to begin a new life with someone else. And when he married Heather, everybody was like, fingers crossed, buddy, we're rooting for you. But she's no Linda.
When Paul and Heather got divorced, she wanted $250 million, but she ended up getting a little bit less than $50 million, which is probably why she had to go on Dancing with the Stars. She needed that cash.
Sometimes the best weddings are not between the people who you think would match up better. It's all about contrast with our number 16, when a misogynist Mr. Universe marries a Kennedy heiress. Rocking the Mexican babysitters, it's the unlikely wedding of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, huge Republican, marries Maria Shriver, huge Democrat.
By the way, action hero who barely can say a sentence. And one of the smartest, most intellectually interesting women and families in our country.
Yes.
Royalty. Somehow they get together and get married in Hyannis.
My favorite random detail of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver's wedding was that Andy Warhol, the artist, was there. Arnold Schwarzenegger got Andy Warhol to do a custom painting of Maria Shriver, and at the rehearsal dinner the night before, Arnold gave it to Maria's parents so that they would always have Maria with her. And I didn't know you could book Andy Warhol for parties like that. That's cool.
For Maria Shriver and Arnold Schwarzenegger's wedding, they had the airspace above them cleared out as if there was gonna be some like Terminator 2 Rise of the Machines attack during the wedding, which I don't get because Maria Shriver, little known fact, her cheekbones actually detach as weapons that can be thrown far distances, which would have totally worked in case of any emergency.
Maria had wanted to take a picture with all her bridesmaids before the actual ceremony, and so they all kind of got together, and you can see them in the picture, and all of a sudden this big gust of wind comes. Maria's got this like 11-foot train, and it comes and it like engulfs her and it sweeps her and all her bridesmaids, and they're all laughing, and a life photographer captured it. And this little picture became one of the most iconic photos of that century.
People don't know this, but the person who actually introduced Maria Shriver and Arnold Schwarzenegger was the newscaster Tom Brokaw. So he's kind of to blame for the whole housekeeper thing.
People used to think Nicole Kidman's marriage to Tom Cruise was weird, but then she married Keith Urban, and she became normal again.
This wedding was really memorable because it was Nicole Kidman's first marriage to someone who doesn't think they're an alien.
At number 15, how rewarding life can be when you marry a bass player.
You know how Keith and Nicole keep it happy and peaceful in their marriage? They have one rule. You know how some couples have separate bathrooms? They have separate flat irons for their hair. Works out perfect.
So when two Australians get married to each other, it's a huge deal, not only all over the world, but especially Australia. And Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were actually really friendly to everyone. They were in a fantastic mood. And as the story goes, they sent cold beer to all the paparazzi that were waiting outside their house when they were about to get married. They were just happy.
A new marriage and dealing publicly with all of those issues.
I think literally right after they got married, he pretty much went to rehab. So that's not a fun honeymoon, I don't think.
There's something about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban that just tickles me. I don't know what it is. It's maybe him being a country star, but then also being Australian, and then her being a vampire. Not in a bad way. I feel, okay, look up their wedding. She wore this very like gothic, frilly, are these photographs or CGI because you can't be photographed because you're invisible to photography because you're a vampire type thing.
Simon and Garfunkel once sang, "Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio?"
Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio?
Well, they forgot to look in Marilyn Monroe's place. At number 14, the power couple of the 60s, who had their marriage destroyed by the groom of our number 23, John Kennedy.
Marilyn Monroe. I love Marilyn so much. She's one of the most beautiful women ever. And I'm sure Joe DiMaggio had a really winning personality.
Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio were two of the most famous people in the world, and they were getting married to each other, and everyone's so excited because we were all super obsessed with Marilyn Monroe. Who doesn't love the Yankees? So these two kids, the marriage is gonna last forever, right?
Now, they got married in City Hall in San Francisco in 1954, and it was meant to be a rather private, quiet ceremony. But Marilyn Monroe decided to leak the details, where they were getting married and when, to the press. So as a result, they were completely mobbed by photographers.
She was in a simple brown little wool dress with a little white collar and a little brooch holding it all together. And that dress actually sold at auction for $33,000.
The most romantic part of Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe's relationship to me has nothing to do with their short-lived marriage. It was about after they got divorced, when Joe DiMaggio helped release Marilyn from a psychiatric institute. He arranged her funeral when she died, and every week until he died, he sent dozens of roses to her gravesite. I mean, if that isn't the most romantic thing I've ever heard, then I don't know what is.
Do you know the joke that says Italians don't like Jehovah's Witnesses because they don't like witnesses? Well, Mick Jagger is a bit Italian. When he married Jerry Hall at our number 13, there were no witnesses, so he never lost a dime with the divorce.
Jerry Hall and Mick Jagger got married in 1990. They already had a bunch of kids, but they were in Bali and they thought, hey, let's get married.
Jerry Hall and Mick Jagger got married in a traditional Balinese Hindu ceremony. When they were going through a divorce a decade later, Mick claimed that they were never actually legally married, so Jerry Hall had to settle for an annulment and only $15 million. I think there's a really important lesson in here. The fact that your marriage might not be legally binding is something you might want to look into when you're planning your dream getaway wedding. Just throwing that out there.
What? See, at that moment, I feel like Jerry Hall would have been justified in just stabbing him in the face. Not like to death, just like a little quick, like, just like, right? So it's like, you mean to tell me for 22 years you've been planning on leaving me?
Yeah.
Because that's what that sounds like to me. You knew this wasn't legal, didn't you?
Yeah.
So Mick Jagger tried to get out of paying her a settlement because the marriage was never technically legal in the UK, which I guess proves the Stones lyric, you can't always get what you want.
And I said that you can't always get what you want, honey.
There was no hotter star in the 90s than Salma Hayek, so it's no surprise her wedding to billionaire Francois-Henri made our list.
Bring everybody. Bring that Gucci
Stella
house over here.
McCartney,
Stella.
everybody. Dolce
get in here.
and Gabbana,
Come
all
on,
of
get
them.
your needles out.
All of them.
We're making a dress.
I'm Selma Hayek. I'm sexy as hell, and I'm marrying a billionaire. This
Yes.
is going to rock.
Yes.
At number 12, the 2 best ways to catch a billionaire.
Salma Hayek and Francois Pignon were married in a star-studded, beautiful, beautiful Venetian ceremony. Before the wedding, they had a Venetian-themed masquerade ball. How cool is that? Although this cowboy must say that if Charlize Theron is at a party, and she was at this party, she should not wear a mask.
My favorite detail of Salma Hayek's wedding was that Woody Harrelson was there, and at the reception, he led the crowd in a very moving rendition of the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Now, I don't know if that was planned or if Woody was just high and started singing, but I'm sure it was a very beautiful moment either way.
Bono was there, and apparently Salma Hayek and all of her famous friends like Charlize Theron got up on stage and sang with Bono, Stand By Me. That is a Hollywood marriage if I've ever heard of one.
It was off the hook. The dress was off the hook.
It better be you got $1 billion.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna go down to the Macy's or something, down to the department store and get a wedding gown. You got $1 billion.
That's right. No. This is going to be right.
Vera Wang gonna be sewing it on me.
Exactly.
So Salma Hayek married this man who's just a bigwig in all these crazy fashion companies, like multi-millionaire. You know, it's one thing to marry for money. It's another thing to marry for all the free clothes in the universe. I mean, who wouldn't do that?
Every wedding on this list is memorable, but none more than our number 11, Pamela Anderson and bad boy Tommy Lee.
Pam Anderson is known for her horrific taste in men.
Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson got married after 4 days of this whirlwind courtship in Cancun, Mexico. She was wearing this skimpy little white bikini. He was shirtless, he was shoeless. But to me, the craziest thing about their wedding isn't even about their wedding, it's about what happened on their honeymoon when they made a sex tape and thought that it would stay between them even though they were a famous rock star and a model wife. So yeah, I don't think that's how video works.
But they had this little ceremony on the beach. Instead of wedding rings, they had their rings tattooed on their fingers to add to all of his tattoos, of course.
Instead of a huge cover-up wedding dress, Pamela Anderson wore a very small white string bikini, which is what you would expect from the star of the great show Baywatch. But you have to think that her mother, who I believe was in attendance, might have been a little mortified she was wearing a bikini. But I guess she thought, well, at least Pam's wearing white on her wedding day.
We counted it down to the top 10 most memorable and saucy celebrity weddings. Next, a wedding so epic it could only be with the flamboyant Elton John. Rocking at number 10, it's the pop star's wedding to David Furnish.
Elton John married a guy named David Furnish, or as I like to call him, the second richest gay on the planet.
Sir Elton John and his partner David Furnish were married in a beautiful ceremony. And it's significant for so many reasons. For so much of history, two men have not even been allowed to get married, which is ridiculous. This cowboy believes that any two adults that want to get married should be able to do that.
Fight for equality
Yes.
in the United States, like, and all around the planet. I have obviously all around the planet the fight for equality and for people of any gender, ethnicity, whatever, to be able to marry each other. To see that happen for somebody like Elton John and this huge icon, it was amazing.
Yes.
When Elton John married David Furnish, they had a special social media hashtag for all the wedding pictures that people could use. It was hashtag share the love. Although I sort of wish they would gone with the original choice, hashtag try the chicken.
Elton John looked so queer at his first marriage, to a woman. He wore a pork pie hat, for God's sakes. I don't know what's more queer than that. And then for his actual gay wedding, just wore a black suit. I'm not saying he had to do like a whole Liberace thing, but at least a cape on one of them. I mean, it's Elton John, come on. You wore star-shaped sunglasses just for fun when you were younger.
Sometimes a wedding is even more memorable than the stars who tie the knot.
Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. Ugh, what a beautiful couple. I'm sure they're gonna be together forever. Wait, they're not together anymore? Oh, so that's why she's been sleeping on my couch.
Tomcatting its way to number 9, it's Tom Cruise's Italian Xena-worthy wedding to Katie Holmes.
When I heard that they got married and the ceremony lasted only 15 minutes, I thought, good on you, great. Nobody likes the ceremony, they just like the party. Then I heard that the kiss lasted 3 minutes and the guests were yelling, stop.
Now there's a rumor that once they were married, Tom and Katie lived in this enormous mansion in Hollywood, but they actually lived at either end of the house and didn't see very much of each other. So you could say that that 3-minute kiss was the most time they ever spent together.
When Tom Cruise was standing up at the altar, that Katie didn't show up for about 20 minutes. So he's standing there looking, according to Leah, he's standing there like just looking all like, no, she's coming, and no one really knew what was going on. And so when this information got out, it kind of went back to the whole thing that no one was really sure whether Katie and Tom this was an actual real marriage.
She was hunched over, kind of like an awkward prom photo. We were a date shorter than you, and you're kind of like an insecure like teenage girl. So you're like, oh, just hunch over, when she should have been like pure diva mode, just like Amazon standing behind him, like, hey, we knew who was the pants in this marriage, but it wasn't her, so why would she do that? It's just the whole thing makes me sick.
Everybody wants to know what went wrong in the relationship between Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. For me, I think it had something to do with the fact that Scientology requires you to sign a billion-year contract. I mean, diamonds aren't forever. A billion-year contract is forever. Even marriage ends when you die.
Great weddings are not always set in Italy. Sometimes they are also set in France. At number 8, it's Eva Longoria's wedding to basketball player Tony Parker.
Eva Longoria and Tony Parker got married in France, which a lot of people don't know, okay, here in the United States.
Well, because Tony Parker's French.
It's French,
He's
right.
a basketball player, but he's French.
Yes.
I think that confuses people.
It very does.
They think basketball player, black and in the United States, but he's black and French.
Yes.
Ava Longoria and Tony Parker got married in this beautiful church near the Louvre in Paris, France. They had their reception at this gorgeous castle outside of Paris. They had celebrities fly in from just all over the world. I think some of the housewives were there. It was basically a dream wedding.
Because they got married in France, they had to go get a civil license as well. And she shows up to get the civil license in the most adorable hot pink outfit. She looks so cute and beaming and so in love. It just kind of set up for what the wedding actually was, which was very over the top. Her theme for that was red. Everything was red. She had, 2,000 candles there.
A lot of people flew to France to be there for Eva and Tony, and I think when you have a big destination wedding like that, when you start to have trouble in your marriage and maybe head toward divorce, it gets really awkward. It's like, ugh, we made all those people get their passports in order. Maybe we should go to marriage counseling first.
Before Brad Pitt married Angelina, there was another marriage he was involved with. Breaking hearts at number 7. It's Brad's marriage to Friends star Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt were America's sweethearts. They were the two most beautiful people in America in 2000 when they decided to get married. In fact, they both had the same color, sort of this beautiful red hair, these big blue-green eyes. They were the perfect match.
On July 29, 2000, Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston got married in this gorgeous, lavish Malibu wedding. There were hundreds of thousands of flowers. There were like 250 guests. It was a really beautiful affair. Basically a storybook wedding, but we all know how that story ended.
Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston, super famous, all eyes were on them, and they had this amazing Malibu wedding, and lobster was served. But the quirky part was that they apparently had a Frank Sinatra impersonator there. I feel like if anyone could have resurrected Frank Sinatra for their wedding, it would have been Brad and Jennifer, but I guess not.
It's funny, even though they had this big giant, circus of a $2 million wedding, I think that people were most surprised about what was said at their vows. When they said their vows to each other, she said that she was going to make him his famous banana splits that he loved, and that he was going to split the difference on the thermostat because, of course, guys, typically, they love it really cold and girls like it warmer. And so that was their balance, that he was going to make sure that the thermostat was set to something that they could both agree on.
The most successful weddings in the industry don't always involve the sexiest people, but people with common interests. Case in point, our number 6, Celine Dion's marriage to her deceased husband, René Argelillo.
Celine's wedding dress was, what's the word I'm looking for? Bazonkers. It was so huge and weird. There was the tiara. It's just like nuts. And it's gigantic. I'm sure you could see that thing from space. And I imagine that Renee probably didn't even get lucky on his wedding night because it probably took 2 weeks to get that damn thing off of her.
Celine Dion, when she married her grandfather, did you see that dress? She looks like a swan on crack.
But what people most will remember, probably not so much the dress, you might remember the big puffy things on it, but probably the crystal tiara that she wore. This thing was 7 pounds on her head. It was so heavy, they actually had to sew it into her head so that it wouldn't come off, because if you move this way and you move that way and you got 7 pounds, it could come off.
Celine Dion knew how to have a gay wedding, let me tell you, but it was kind of like the most beautiful drag queen dress you could have imagined, with like 8 pieces that came off and a shawl, and I know there wasn't like a team of dogs like Cruella de Vil chasing her, but I want to imagine there was. It was really a thing. It was a big, big deal at the time.
But the thing about Celine that we all sort of had, we all stopped for a second because they met when she was 12.
Yeah.
And he was not 12. You know what? We all try to, it's none of our business, but it just seems a little, that's weird.
Yeah.
We didn't like it.
Well,
I mean,
it's not for
rest in
us.
peace, all that, but.
Often considered the queen of pop, it's no surprise one of Madonna's marriages made our list. The groom was not an anonymous character either. It was the then bad boy, Sean Penn. At number 5, the marriage between the Material Girl and El Chapo's personal biographer.
Sean Penn and Madonna, they were at the time the most followed couple by the tabloids, by the paparazzi. They had gone to such lengths. in order for people to not find out where the ceremony was. But they did something that probably wasn't that smart. They ended up getting married at a friend's home in Malibu overlooking a cliff.
They had all of these people showing up to Malibu, and then the helicopters came. They just hovered. There were like 10 helicopters hovering over their wedding, so much so that Sean Penn, when he was thanking everyone for coming, said, "Welcome to the remake of Apocalypse Now." The dude's wedding.
I love Sean Penn and Madonna's wedding because it's like totally 80s. There's tons of hair gel. Madonna's wearing like a hat. Her dress basically looks like it's made out of taffeta scrunchies. It's so just rebel chic. It's fantastic.
Madonna and Sean Penn. You know, when Madonna married him, she decided to go all out for her wedding. She was like, I'm gonna wear underwear underneath my dress today.
Madonna had a traditional-ish looking dress, but then there was like a sash going down it. And I'm sure if, I did more research, I would know what it represented, but to the naked eye, looks kind of like some Game of Thrones warrior type sash, as if she's letting everybody know, like, yeah, this is gonna be a battle. I'm getting ready. Let's go, Sean.
This next marriage gave new meaning to royalty. You may believe Britain should be a republic, but if it was, we wouldn't have our number 4. The marriage of Prince William with Kate Middleton.
First of all, it was of course going to be compared to his mother's wedding.
Yes.
To Prince Charles, okay? The Diana Charles wedding. But this is what I loved about Kate Middleton. She had her own experience. And people embraced it so wonderfully. I mean, that was if you remember, that was the summer of the Fascinator. Every chick had like a feather hanging off her head.
Yeah.
From Pippa on, everybody was walking around with these hats.
My sister lived in England at the time, and I asked her, like, oh my God, you were there during, like, what happened? And her response was just constantly, it's boring. It's so, oh my God, it's just everyone is just sitting around. It's boring. It is like 10 hours long, and traffic doesn't move, and it's a wedding. It's just a wedding, you guys.
Will and Kate's wedding cost a reported $34 million. And of that, do you know how much went to security? $32 million, which left $2 million for everything else. The dress, the cake, everything. Which is probably why the shepherd's pie was so dry. They cut the gravy budget. No gravy budget!
Prince William and Kate. What a beautiful wedding. What the world learned that day is that Pippa's ass is outrageous.
Pippa Middleton was the true star of that wedding. And after she so gorgeously walked up the aisle, Prince Harry was seen whispering in Prince William's ear. And I believe what he was saying to Prince William was, I'm gonna hit that.
From a prince of an important country who married a pleb, to a casino owner who married a film star. Gambling its way to number 3, it's the marriage of Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier of Monaco.
Grace Kelly was such a beloved star, and in Hollywood, she was magnificent, and everybody always wanted to see her perform forever. But unfortunately, when she got married, we lost her. She didn't perform anymore. She didn't have to. She was just busy being a princess.
What I loved about Princess Grace's wedding was that she didn't go to one of the hot European designers of the time for her dress. It was actually made by a Hollywood costume designer, a woman from MGM named Helen Rose. So Princess Grace's dress was imported from Hollywood just like she was.
Grace Kelly actually became a princess. Like, that's kind of, by today's standards, even huge. Like 36 seamstresses, even all the details of her wedding, like the fact that 36 seamstresses all worked on just her wedding dress, and I'm not positive if it could have actually been a collection of mice and birds actually flying in to sew them all together for her. Like at every step, it really seemed like a Cinderella princess event, like farce almost, like just the way that she looked, and she was so picturesque, and then at the end of the day, she was now a monarch, which is bizarre to me.
For me, Grace Kelly is one of the most beautiful, elegant, sophisticated, gorgeous women of all time.
Yeah.
And for a Hollywood actress, to marry a prince, that hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Royalty stuck with royalty, which was why they seemed all a little, hinky. But royalty hadn't stepped out. Prince Rainier, he was willing to give it up.
Yeah.
He's like, no, this is Grace Kelly.
Yeah.
I give up all this princeness
Yes.
to marry some Grace Kelly. That's how good she has.
Yeah.
That's how she had it.
Yeah.
We've counted down 23 of the top celebrity weddings. And since we are near the top, you know the wedding at number 2 has to be pretty important. So it's a good thing it's an international wedding.
For a guy who said he never wanted to get married again, this George Clooney wedding was like one for the books.
At only one place from the top, it's the marriage between George Clooney and the international lawyer, Amal Alamuddin.
George and Amal, they kind of seem like they'd be duds at a dinner party, am I wrong?
George Clooney married Amal Alamuddin in a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And it was the epitome of star-studded. You had Matthew Damon, you had Cindy Crawford, you had Emily Blunt, you had John Krasinski. Their wedding was like a wedding version of Ocean's 11.
They had this beautiful wedding in Venice. Like, apparently they love Italy, just like everybody else. And the wedding had this really kind of homespun, meaningful background. They danced to Irving Berlin's Always, which is the same song that George's parents danced to at their wedding.
Wow, what air will she breathe around George Clooney? Their air can't mix. He has famous people gills.
And she's so clearly just like, guys, I save lives. Like, have fun, whatever bad movie you're making this month. I have to go do work now.
Amal Alamuddin is an international law and human rights lawyer. She's gorgeous, she's stylish, she's brainy. I mean, she has everything. If you ask me, George Clooney was the lucky one.
We spotlighted 24 of the 25 most memorable celebrity weddings. Time to check out which wedding had the star power to nail the top spot. She was a vain social worker. He was a prince with round ears like Dumbo. Our number 1 is the royal marriage of Prince Charles and Diana Spencer.
Any 80s wedding dress is a spectacle, but Princess Diana's took all the 80s and just put it in one dress.
This was the wedding of the century. Apparently 750 million people watched this wedding on TV. There was like 250,000 people watching Lady Diana, going through the streets in her procession. There will basically never be a wedding on this level again.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It's a huge event.
Huge, 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 huge.
I believe we got to stay home from school or something weird.
Know,
Like, it was literally.
It's funny. You think about school, I'm thinking I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning being like, they're married yet? Are they married yet?
It was a big deal here.
Yes.
Prince Charles was marrying a commoner.
Yes.
It also is the moment that Diana became the people's princess. We saw this teenager walk up the aisle looking so innocent and almost unprepared for what she was about to face.
Luckily for Prince Charles, that day he married out of his league and out of his gene pool. Win-win for everybody.